Welcome back, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Leica Summilux 50mm f1.4 Classic reissue. This is the brand new version 2025 of this iconic lens, and I actually got to test this lens 2 weeks ago at Leica New York and shot a bunch of portraits of my friends. So into this video, I'm also going to be unboxing my own copy because I just received it. As you can see, it's sealed right now. We're going to be unboxing the contents, show you what this lens is all about, the lens hood that this lens comes with, and we're going to talk a little bit about the history, and at the end, help you decide if this is a lens that you want to choose for your kid. Let's go. And this video is sponsored by All Crown camera straps and accessories right here in Miami, Florida. Now take a look at this Trail Flex adjustable flat rope strap that allows you to go from 32 inches chest carry all the way to 58 inches for carry around the waist or even below. Designed for the everyday carrier, this camera strap is minimalist to be light, easy to carry, and super comfortable. If you want to learn more about our products, go to allcrown.com. And if you're ready to order, follow the link down in the description for 10% on your first order. All right, so let's begin with the unboxing and let's break the seal. All right, so the first thing is that now this lens has come with this classic box. No longer we have the silver box. These ones are more eco-friendly for what I can see. And here we go. It's a little bit of an origami type of box. Here we have it, Leica with a black packaging and the white sleeve. We are gonna remove the sleeve. And now let's unveil the goods. Okay, so at a glance, this is a very nice presentation. As you guys can see, we have this nice box, and then the lens comes with a leather pouch, which is always very much welcome, especially if you're going to be using the lens for traveling. Now the box seems to have, we have some literature right here. Very nice packaging, Leica on this one. Very, very nice. So I guess we have a booklet there. We're not going to open that. All right, so what you can see right now is that this lens actually came with the lens hood attached to the body. It is the one that you can reverse and then pop it in. So the first thing that I noticed is the weight of this lens. This is very heavy. I list the weight right here. Now this lens is going to have a minimum focusing distance, as you can see, of 0.7 meters. And this one is going to be a difference between the original version that has a 1 meter minimum focusing distance. So at a glance, the lens, looks really good, and I am pretty impressed about the packaging of this lens. All right, just taking a look at the lens, we have an aperture, of course, of f1.4 that goes in half-click increment all the way to f16. Now let's talk about the focusing throw of this lens and style. It features a scalloped focusing ring. We don't have a tab in this one, and it's going to rotate about 180 degrees. I specifically like this type of focusing mechanism with a scallop design because it's much more accurate than the tab. And because I'm going to be using this lens mainly for portraiture, that's what I want to refine my focus. All right, and now with the lens in my hand, let's talk about the aperture. The aperture feels a little bit on the looser side, and this is something that I noticed in the original version. Now let's actually dig in the pouch, and as usual, we find sometimes more goods at the end. And in this case, we have a brass lens cap that actually looks really nice in the lens. Most likely, I'm probably gonna keep this somewhere else just to protect it and have a plastic one for daily use. But this one actually fits very snug, which is something that you don't find on a lot of lenses. Like for example, the Summicron 35 Apo has a very loose metallic cap, but this one, as you can see now, I'm having a hard time removing it. But I'd much rather be this way than having a loose cap that then it's gonna fall and scratch and dent. But like I mentioned before, chances are that this cap is gonna stay in the pouch and I'll use something more disposable. Now the one thing that I do remember is when I picked up this lens for the first time was the weight. This lens feels a little bit hefty. Now it weighs about 14.7 ounces, which is almost equal to 400 grams. And in my opinion, it's a little bit more on the heavier side of carry. I prefer much lighter lenses, but this one is actually short. And what I want to do right now is I want to compare this lens with some of the other lenses that I own similar, in size and aperture, which is going to be the Noctilux 50mm f1.2. And as you can see, they are a little bit similar, but the Summilux being a little bit smaller. Now, when it comes to weight, they kind of like weigh a little bit about the same, at least that's what I feel. I list the weight of both lenses right here on the screen. And there's also another version that is the much modern 11891 version, which is a lens that I really like. Now this one is going to have a much more modern look of rendering, but it's also smaller. It features a built-in lens hood, and this lens is really easy to carry. Now what I want to do is I want to install the lens hood in this lens and just give you guys a little bit of a glance of what this lens is going to look like when putting that gigantic lens hood. Yeah, there is a big difference, you know, between this and the lens hood of this lens right here that barely protrudes. But, you know, you're going for the classic look with this lens, and this is the way it is. And it is the same lens hood that you're gonna find in the Noctilux f1.2 as well. You know, that classic lens hood that has these two tabs right here that you have to press to remove. But I don't actually do lens hood that much, so this lens is gonna be rocked the way you see it right now. So when shooting this lens wide open, you are gonna take full advantage of that classic Summilux character. This lens is gonna render beautiful bokeh in areas of highlight. You're gonna see that glow and a little bit of a timeless cinematic look. Now, even when you stop down this lens is gonna continue to have that look baiting across the aperture range, something that you may not find in lenses like modern Summiluxes like the 11891 version or the 2023. So this one is going to be a lens that you are going to buy because you want to commit to that big-ting look all across the aperture range. Now the dreamy look coming out of this lens is not a coincidence because this lens is actually based out of the original design released in 1959 of the Summilux 50mm f1.4, a lens known for its beautiful bokeh and glow. Now the original version had a minimum close focusing distance of 1 meter, and this version has a 0.7 meters, which in my opinion, it makes it much more versatile for tighter framing. Now this lens is going to be the 5th lens of that classic series of Leica lenses, but it is going to be the first one displaying that brand new packaging that you guys just saw at the beginning. And I think that Leica has nailed it with this lens. I wasn't planning to get this lens, but after having the terrible idea of testing this lens a couple of weeks ago in New York and seeing the result right out of the gate that this lens produces, I decided to get my own copy. So there are going to be several reasons why you may opt for this version versus the version 1, the original one. I think that one is going to be obvious. This one is a brand new lens that performs really well. And to get a very clean copy with clean glass and clean mechanicals may cost you more than the reissue. Now, again, this lens is not cheap. It goes for about $3,850 more or less, plus tax, plus shipping and everything else. Whereas with this lens, you're not gonna have to worry about scratched up, you know, optics or mechanical problems. And the other reason is that this one has a closer focusing distance of 0.7 meter than 1 meter. And I think that this is something that I wish my 50mm Noctilux f1.2 had. This one still a 1 meter close focusing distance. I think that Leica should have made it or try to make it with a 0.7, even if that would have had more, you know, artifacts. But in my opinion, you know, I went for this copy for that. You know, I like the tighter framing that I could compose with a 0.7 versus a meter. So guys, I'm gonna be putting this lens through its paces, shooting a lot of portraits and photos, and give you in a few months from now my definitive review. So until then, thank you for watching this video. I'll see you then.